Mhm, mm, 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 mm. When I tell y'all this is the drama that does not end, it really is the drama that just doesn't end. And it's one of those situations where a person just finds themselves drawn to drama that they don't have to be drawn to. You don't have to be drawn into the mix of drama. I could see if somebody had thrown the ball Brandi Glanville's way, but nobody was even thinking about you right now. Like, and maybe that was the problem. Maybe that was the problem for which she has now found herself on the periphery of a scandal. It just doesn't even make sense. Speaking of scandals, we're going to be talking a little bit about Kandi and Todd. We're also going to be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac. The reunion is coming up this weekend. Ashley is still doing the interviews. So we're going to be talking all about everything that she has to say. She is spilling the tea about what really happened with Charisse and the boy. Well, the man at this point, I mean, because the man is 27. So, he's of age, I guess. So we're going to talk about what she's revealing about that whole situation. Was it a scheme that Todd set up to come to us with the BS? I don't know. I really, really don't know. Um, I really just don't know. We gotta figure that out. We're gonna discuss that in this video. What's going on, Marcella? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Yes, yes. Hit the like button when you come into the room. We're gonna be talking about a whole lot of stuff going on. Whole lot of stuff going on. Oh gosh. So let's get into it. Brandi Glanville has, for some odd reason, entered the chat with this whole Jill Zarin and Bad Bunny situation. And it's like, why? So let's discuss. Shout out to our friends over at Mr. Housewives for this. I mean, it it's kind of like what was really the reason? I really have to I really just want to know that. What indeed was the reason? So Brandy posts this. Okay, number one, I have a huge crush on Bad Bunny. I want to be his Mrs. Robinson. The second, though, the half show rocked, my friend. Rocked. My friend Jill Zarin has her own opinion, and I don't agree with it at all, but opinions aren't wrong, they're subjective. I want to watch Jill on TV explain herself and hopefully learn something, or we can just keep watching, quote, yes, people afraid to share. So I think that I'm going to pull out a quote that was written on Mr. Housewives' comment that I think really exemplifies the issue here. No, opinions are wrong when they're rooted in racism, like being upset that a Latino American is representing America on one of the biggest stages in the country. See, what should there's so much about Jill's statement that Brandy is willfully ignoring. And I'm assuming that this is because she's friends with Jill. I'm assuming that's the reason why she is taking the stance that she's taking right now. But it's kind of like, girl, sometimes if that's y- I'm sure Jill didn't contact you for pre-approval with regards to her message and the way that she sent it out. Matter of fact, from what I hear, From what I hear, allegedly the people around her were telling her not to post the video. And yet and still she did. So fact of the matter is, it's like, Jill, and Brandi, here's the thing, my lady. If you want to hear Jill explain herself, the rest of us don't have to be subjected to watching her on TV. If you want to watch her on a screen, give you an apology, an explanation, the lessons learned, her next action steps, or whatever, corporate jargon we tend to use, then you, my dear, can just simply pick up the phone and FaceTime her, since you guys are such good friends. FaceTime her. FaceTime her. Okay? That's what you can do. Because I mean, I personally, I don't really need nothing from the situation at this point. We know what we know. She not gonna be on the show. And I'm gonna point y'all to something. If you really want to take a deep dive into this whole situation with Jill and Bobby, and the Jill Zarin fabrics and the Jill Zarin of it all, if you really want to get deep, I wasn't even gonna pull this up, but I am now. If you really, really, really want to go deep into the Jill Zarin of it all, I'm gonna give you guys some. And I'm not gonna go through the whole thing because it's a lot. It's a deep dive. Okay. Um, and this, for me, I'll put it in the description so that you guys can read it for yourself. My homegirl Sarah, she posted this, and y'all know this was a thread on the Reddit. I don't really understand the Reddit. I guess it's a discussion forum, but if you want to go down the rabbit hole on Jill and the family and everything that they feel about her allegedly, especially with as it pertains to her husband, her deceased husband's family, you want to go down the rabbit hole on this, because the stepson is giving all of the tea about why she allegedly is not in a good place with the family, and why it would be so uncomfortable if she were to ever try to step her foot up in Zarin fabrics. So what we do know about Jill is that it seems as though Jill has been her own worst enemy. Okay? That's what I heard too, that Jill's daughter allegedly told her not to do that video, including some friends who were present during the video. This backs up my thoughts that Jill wanted a moment, and she was taking a play from the Bethany playbook and posting her comments, trying to be sassy, and it turned out to burn her in her biscuits. It's just bad marketing. It's just bad marketing all around. Like, girl, like, no, come on now. Come on. Y'all know what? I'm gonna have to start wearing some shades around here, baby, because these lights and my vision. Whoo! All right. This is real ghetto. My glasses ain't in here. Oh, Lord have mercy. Where did she admit that at? I felt like I saw somebody else say that she had said something about I don't know. All I know is, girl, you should have listened. You would have done yourself a huge service by listening to your daughter as she told you what not to do. Okay? But again, I felt like Jill was trying to pull a Bethany and trying to promote that show, and in doing so, she found herself on the wrong end of this discourse. Okay. That's a little bit better. They're a little foggy, but that's we can see a little bit better now. I have officially become that person. Okay, y'all. Let's get into the real tea of it all. I always like to do a warm-up story to let y'all, let the people get into the room. Let's discuss Kandi and Todd. Y'all, I had a feeling we was gonna get here. I had a feeling. I had a feeling. We're about to dive into this Kandi and Todd of it all. The trip to Bali will be at the end of September. I will be releasing all of that information very, very soon. For now, if you want to jump on the wait list, just shoot an email over to skyboundtravel.com. No www, just skyboundtravel.com. Enter your email address, and then I will be able to send you an email the moment we go live because I know that this trip is going to go fast because it's about to be lit. It's going to be lit. The itinerary is lit. Thank you very much. So that's that on the Bali trip. Just go hop on the wait list, get on in there, so that way I can send you an email the moment it drops. Ooh, it's the things you do when you're bored that gets you fired on your day off. My, 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 my. All right, so Kandi and Todd, they're in the news. Apparently, according to some new court filings, Kandi and Todd, um, it's going down. Todd is pushing back really, really aggressively, asking the court for expanded authority over the children. Now, this comes to us from Urban Bell magazine, as well as the Jasmine brand. Todd is apparently requesting that the judge designate him as the temporary primary custodial parent, arguing he has been the children's main caregiver while Kandi has worked out of state. He claims responsibility for daily routines, schooling, supervision, and transportation, and disputes assertions that he has interfered with Kandi's parenting time. He is also challenging Kandi's account of a Christmas travel dispute, stating he personally transported the children to New York so she could spend the holiday with them. He contends tensions arose because travel plans were made without his consultation, not because he attempted to block access. With regards to child support, he denies neglecting financial responsibilities, saying the expenses were divided by mutual agreement and noting the couple's shared property holdings. He maintains that court intervention is only necessary due to unresolved scheduling disagreements. Mm. You know, you hate to see this because, on the one hand, y'all saying I was frozen. I, you know what? I can't stand StreamYard. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. Um, we're gonna figure that out. We're gonna have to move to either the OBS or we're gonna have to move to the Riverside because the StreamYard. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. No, it's not. It's not just y'all. It's just the StreamYard in general. Okay. It, it's hard to say. It's hard to say lately. I don't know what's going on. Um, but yeah, so here we are with Kandi and Todd, and I don't know how this is going to move forward because at the end of the day, it sounds like they're both fighting for the best interest of the children, but it also sounds like they both want there seems to be some misunderstanding or some misalignment with the scheduling and with who's doing what. Now, if I'm correct, Kandi is on Broadway. Is that correct? I think Kandi is on the Broadway. So I'm assuming that I don't want to say what I'm thinking. Here, okay, so let's really get down to the nitty-gritty. My wonder is if it is going to be difficult for Kandi to fight this fight while she is away on travel. And I know what I'm saying. I don't want it to make it seem like she's not going to be able to work while she's going through this divorce. But there's a part of me that thinks that while she is traveling, it's just going to be and working, it's going to be very, very difficult to mount the best defense because it is going to at least appear that she is not the present parent. And I'm just speaking from the perspective of someone who is watching this play out from the sidelines. I don't have a dog in this fight regardless, but just as a casual observer, it will always seem to me that in this instance that she is away and he is the primary caretaker unless the kids are with her in New York. So it seems like the argument could always be, well, she is not here and I am. I mean, so I feel like they both got to get on on a good foot with this scheduling and how that's going to work. And I just don't know where the breakdown is coming from. I really don't. I really don't. So it's a sad, unfortunate situation, but I hope that they can resolve this because I mean it's unfortunate to see this play out. As much as I was hoping that this would play out like Eva and Michael, but I mean a lot of y'all feel like they was never broke up in for real anyway. A lot of people felt like they had split because he was going through and through and through with his stuff. And the best way for her to not be a part of all that was to get a divorce. Now, that's what a lot of our people were saying online. I will admit, though, she did seem super down in the dumps when she was on that show where they was traveling. Um, where were they at? Were they in Vietnam? I think they went to Vietnam. They went somewhere. Her and Nivea and Tammy Rivera and that other girl that they didn't get along with. So, um, I don't know. I would imagine that Todd does something. I know he produces all what and when I say something, I mean that he is doing something that is generating regular recurring income. Does he have a YouTube channel? I feel like he got things going on, but I don't know if it would amount to the same percentage of what Kandi may be pulling in from her businesses. And then I wonder, yeah, it was Vietnam. Okay. I wonder then what percentage of their businesses they own together that they're still kind of having to deal with. Now, are both of those locations still open? I know there was word that something had closed. I don't live in the Atlanta, so I don't know. Now, say what now? All of them closed? Mm, I didn't know that. Mm. Well, listen, the restaurant business is a volatile business. So Barbara says he's reopening one of the OLG restaurants. Okay. I know. It's hard out here. It is hard out here. Mm. Mm. Well, we wish them the best and we hope that they get through this. Let's move on. We have a couple more stories to share today and to really dive into. We're going to discuss Ashley. See, this things like this always chap my biscuits. I mean, they just chap my butt. They just annoy me to no end. They really, really do. It's really such a bother to me. It really is. So shout out to our friends over at No Chaser underscore TV. Somebody tagged me in this, and I said, yeah, I do not like when reality TV stars do this. Okay, so this whole situation with Ashley and Charisse, Ashley was on the What's the Reality podcast. And she's been making quite the rounds with regards to the podcast recently and doing, kind of her own press. And I just felt like, you know what? It is one thing to do this and to sort of make a mess. You know what I'm saying? To talk about this whole situation with Jackson, this kiss or this non-kiss. I saw one thing where recently she said that, she was just being cheeky for, with Story when she said that there may have been more to it. There may not have been more to their kiss. And that right there just kind of annoyed me. But this, I think, takes the cake. This right here takes the cake because I'm kind of like, to say that you were just trying to help Charisse get back on the show with this whole story, it all makes me feel like, dang, I mean, ain't none of this, is any of this even real? Did all this happen? Was this all a ploy to get this boy a modeling contract? Listen, uh, first of all, let me say this. I want the man to be successful. Somebody give him a contract, 4 models, somebody call the man, let's go. But it just it really irritates me when they do something like this to try to quote get somebody back on the show. Let's just call a thing a thing. Whether you like Charisse or you loathe Charisse, it is clear that production, the network, they do not value at this point in time having Sharice back in the mix full time. Okay? Now, I say that with love. I genuinely do. It is someone at the network level, someone at the production level. I don't know who, but they do not want to give Sharice a flute. They don't. Okay? So that is not us. That is them. So to try to do some work like this, to try to get her back on the show, I mean, did it work? I mean, it's like Ashley says that she was expecting maybe a bigger reaction, but really didn't get any. So did the plan fall apart? Did you tell her and then forget to tell her that that was your goal? And did she not react big enough at the time? Like, was she not clued in on your plan? Uh, who concocted this scheme? I told y'all when we watched that playback, I said, why did I feel like Giselle already knew about it? And of course, we've heard it said that Giselle knew. Um, I believe Sharice or somebody had said that this story had been trying to come up for quite some time, but it had never gone anywhere. So as Sharice is now reacting in a very much delayed manner about the whole situation, and she's going and she's doing the interview and the press and this, that, and the third. They're doing the Sherry show, and he's doing the Watch What Happens Live. He's doing the Sherry show as well. It just, I just don't like stuff like this. And I feel like when you have to work in this sort of way, then it almost makes me feel like either A, you don't have anything going on, or B, you're trying to pull the wool over on us. And for what? Like, is that all we have left in this day and age? Like, we don't want this type of story. We really don't. And for Ashley, she basically says in this interview, well, I've been around for a while. I know the game. So yeah, it's pretty salacious. And I'm like, girl, first of all, do you know that the people, if I was production, if I were a producer, I would be livid right now. I would be absolutely livid because it is one thing to say to do all of this, right? And it's blowing up and it's one thing, but by haven't we learned anything at this point? Like, if you're gonna come to us with this BS, then at least drive this thing home. Drive it home. Drive it off of the cliff with intention. But this now coming back and saying, oh, well, I knew it was going to be salacious. And, I've been in this game for a long time, so I know what to do. Girl, who says that? Why would you say that? You didn't stir up all this juice and set off a chain reaction of events that y'all have either somebody has meticulously thought out, either before or in the after. Okay. Sharice and future Ford model there. I mean, listen, again, I want him to be successful. I want Sharice to win at whatever it is. But this is not the way. Okay? This is not the way. It is not. It is not. So I just my final word to Ashley on this, and she says that she put the kibosh on, any future, escapades with Jackson. I find that to be interesting because he had already stated that on the Sherry show that, oh well, maybe maybe the storylines were slow this season or something like that. Um, bro, listen, I don't even know what you're talking about, but you about to be banned. All right. Anyway, um, so yeah, that's what's going on with that whole situation. And here's the thing, as y'all know, contrary to what some of y'all may feel, I like Ashley, but I don't like this. It just feels it just feels very low class. That declasses the show. It really does. Moving on. So we got some previews coming out. Shout out to our friends from the Bravo Shade Room. There are there actually are three previews for this coming week. Okay. So if you guys are interested in seeing what is to come, from this coming week's episode, then this is going to be a little bit of a situation that you guys can actually dive into. So when it is asked about Stacey's "Can I bust" business, it's interesting because Giselle is very much like, "Girl, I said that you was doing this. I don't know why you trying to make it seem like you wasn't when you was." Okay? I don't know why you trying to make it seem like you wasn't when you was, but we all know what you was trying to do. So cut it out. But Stacey's like, "I don't owe you no explanations. I don't have to confirm or deny anything for you with regards to my business." And to that, I kind of agree. I kind of have to agree with Stacey. Now, was Giselle right? Absolutely, she was. But is Stacey also right? Technically, she is. You do not have to confirm or deny anything with regards to your future business plans, especially when if the deal is not signed, sealed, and delivered. You don't have to do it. Okay. So, I mean, that's just what it is. That's the truth, and that's where it starts and it stops. You don't have to. Now, granted, we may look at Stacey later with a bit of a side eye and think that Giselle was right, but the actual factual of it is that Stacey does not owe them that. She doesn't, especially when they haven't had any really good intentions for her, um, for at least the past year anyway. So why would she tell them any of her tea that she's about to sign, seal, and deliver on if she hasn't signed, sealed, and delivered on it just yet? Okay. I mean, that's it. You ain't got to tell nobody your business before the business is booming. You don't got to say nothing to nobody. Um, Now Wendy has an interesting take on this, and I thought that this was fascinating because they don't really go further with this. Wendy feels like Stacey named her business. Is it Shayo? I think it's Shayo. But y'all know her "Can I Bust" line is Nigerian. So Wendy thinks that this was a way for Stacey to get back at Eddie and Wendy for outing Stacey with regards to what TJ told Eddie at the reunion last season when they was all screaming, bring Eddie out. And there were accusations by TJ that Stacey was paying him to be on the show. So when they pan over to Stacey afterwards, Stacey doesn't really react to much. Okay. She does not really, she don't really give you that much when she's confronted with something, but we don't really get to see the end of that. So I don't really know where that's going to go. All I know is I thought it was fascinating to me that Wendy said that, because Wendy, rel- this is what I find interesting about Wendy. I really like Wendy, but I think at this point she's pretty polarizing. Wendy to me is interesting because Wendy always manages to hold Stacey's feet to the fire, regardless of how close they are. And she does so in a way that no one else can really seem to do. There is something about, and maybe Stacey feels like Wendy is genuinely her friend, but Wendy definitely keeps her foot on Stacey's neck, and that makes their friendship very interesting, because what you don't see with like a Giselle or Ashley is you don't see that level of I'm going to hold you accountable when you're wrong, and I'm going to tell you to your face, and I'm going to tell you in public that I think that you're wrong. Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some boom in it. I'm going to actually say what I feel. That is what makes Wendy and Stacey's friendship, in my opinion, so much more interesting and so much more housewives like, because the reason why we love a Salt Lake City, but which for me, I got to tell y'all, I this was not my favorite Salt Lake City season, but it's still up there. It's still entertaining to me, but that's what makes that show so good, is because everybody is mixing it up. Everybody's mixing it up. And so when you have a show that where two people can actually go at it and still remain friends, but still call each other out, or at least one of them calling the other out and sticking to it, that's interesting. I would wager to say that the better dynamic that Giselle has like that is probably with Karen. Karen and Giselle, if they keep that going, then they have that sort of kind of frenemy friendship situation as well. And they can do that with each other. But for some reason, it always feels like whenever with whatever person Giselle has as her, I don't want to call it like a sidekick, but like a bosom buddy, they don't ever really seem to tell her, and she doesn't ever really seem to tell them like when they are wrong. Now, I wanted to ask y'all. No, 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 no. Giselle was not wrong. Let's be clear. She was not wrong at all. She wasn't. But I think it could be argued that if I came up to you and I said, D Block, I heard you starting your own clothing brand. And if you have not signed off on the fabrics, if you haven't signed off on the website, if you haven't finished, getting all of your samples in, you don't owe me the explanation of whether you are starting that business or not, because it's not official yet. And whether it was official or not is kind of gray for the rest of us. And so unless Giselle was in the room with her when she was signing her dotted line, yes, Giselle was right. But was Stacey wrong? Mm, that's debatable, right? Because if you said to me, D Block, well, no, I'm not in the clothing business as of yet. That would technically be true. You don't owe me that courtesy unless I'm working with you on the business. That's the real life of it all, right? But was Giselle technically correct? She absolutely was. You are absolutely right. Yeah, revenge. So I don't know that I think that Stacey naming well, Wendy does go on to state that she believes that Stacey is very strategic, which I do believe. But do I think that she was doing it for revenge? I don't think so. Because then that is technically the basis for her entire business. Like, I can't see myself naming my business a whole name just to be spiteful to someone else. No, this is a business that hopefully withstands the test of time, in my opinion, right? So I would want to be like, no. My business name is going to be my business name because that's what I want it to be. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I'm interested. I'm fascinated. You're right. She does pay everybody dust. And it'd be so funny. It's always super interesting to see how that plays out. It's always super interesting to see her reactions. And I don't know either. I don't know either. I can't wait to see how that this whole scene just goes because it should be fascinating. It should be fascinating. Okay, y'all. So those are our stories for today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in. Here's the thing. Also, a couple of things before we go. Those of you guys who are interested in travel, we had Dubai for 40 for $1. We did. We had it. It was just last Tuesday. I think it was last Tuesday. But by the time I got on Zoom, that thing was gone. It has sold out. So we still have some Dubais for $49. Yes, I know that sounds real crazy, but I promise you I can show you. So for those of you guys who are interested in that, be sure to hit me up at bookings at djrichieskye.com in case you missed the last week. We are having a Zoom at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to tune in and tap in for that. This is for people who want to, travel on a more full-time basis and also get paid from their travels. If you want to generate some income on a day-to-day basis, you get paid daily with this. I get paid daily to do this. So, I like to stack my coins all types of ways. So if that's you, then you want to tap in at bookings at djrichieskye.com. We're going live on Zoom at 7 p.m. Yes, it is going to be super, super lit, 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 lit. Okay. Yeah, that other clip that's floating around out there is it's interesting. It's good. It's good. I can't wait to see the reunion. I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be funny. I think it's gonna be a lot more funny than I probably gonna be like people going at it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see how this plays out. And of course, we'll have Married to Medicine back as well. So make sure you guys are on the lookout for that. With that being said, y'all, for those of you guys who are shooting me emails right now, I will be emailing you with the link for the Zoom in just about 5 minutes. So yeah, it'll be 6 p.m. Central Time, but 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. Yeah. So, with that being said, y'all, I will. There was something else I meant to tell y'all, but I can't. I can't even recall it right now. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in. I got to go rest my throat for a minute. Mm. Yes, we are having a call tonight at the 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. So tell a friend to tell a friend. All right. And I will catch you guys. For those of you guys who will tune into our Zoom, I'll see you at 7. And for those otherwise, I will catch you likely tomorrow at 5.